Welcome to an ongoing series on my channel where I try to teach you something about Davinci Resolve as fast as I can. Before we start, I do want to let you know that we will be getting into the code a little bit, so choose whatever is your favorite text editor. Mine's Virtual Studio Code, but even the notepad built into Windows works fine. Let's start with something really simple. I want to be able to switch between the text and the circle in this macro. Now, you could obviously do a blend, but that's only going to switch the top layer on and off. It's not going to actually switch between two different things. All we have to do is come into here and add a dissolve node, and now we can see we can dissolve between the text and our circle. Pretty easy. Let's turn that into a checkbox. There's a couple of ways of doing it. I'm going to do the maybe a little more complicated way, and then I'm actually going to show you the really easy way. So first, all you have to do is make a new control, edit control, and we're just going to name this to toggle. Find the checkbox control in our list of input. You can make this between 0 and 1 so that it can go between those two. Instead of width, the default width of 1 is fine, but you can obviously make it smaller. We can then keep it as animatable if we want to, and let's put it on the controls page. Press OK, and there we go. We have a little toggle switch. Pretty easy going. If we then connect up our foreground and background to our toggle switch, we then just get a really easy toggle switch. Let's go ahead and remove that now. If we hover over the name of the control, we can actually see what it's called. We can see that this one's actually called mix. So let's go ahead and find the mix in our list of inputs here, and we can change it from a slider control to a checkbox control, and make it integer and put it back on our controls page and press OK. And now it does the exact same function, but it by default is a checkbox. So just to make things easier on us, I'm going to add an alpha divide node. This node is basically just the settings tab on other nodes. Go ahead and disable it so it's not taking up any extra memory in our rendering. Let's go ahead and edit controls, and we're going to just type in whatever we want this to be called. So we'll call this my text. Come down here and look for label control, but we can actually then show arrow and select a hidden amount. So this is how many controls you're going to hide with this label. So we're going to select 12, and we're just going to put it on the common, and we're going to, or not, we're put it on user, so it's not on this page. And we're going to make it not animatable, and we're going to make it passive. This makes sure that it's not trying to render each frame. And since this is a drop-down option now, we can turn it into an integer, and we can make the default 1. 1 is going to make sure it's open, 0 is going to make sure it's closed. Go ahead and press OK, and there you go. You have yourself a label to hide your controls in. Let's go ahead and add a quick other one real fast for our circle. Pretty easy. All we have to really do now is set this to 0 because we want this down to be closed, and then 0 to 1. Go ahead and add that, and we can see this one is closed, this one's open. Pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and export this as a macro. We want to select the nodes in the order that we want the controls to appear. So we'll go ahead and do alpha divide, and then dissolve, and then text, and then select the ellipse. And then we can also select render. We can then right click on any of them and come up here to macro, create macro. And let's go ahead and go through and select what we need. We don't need the output for alpha divide. It will always select it because it's not connecting to anything. We want the output for dissolve, and we want this one. We want to change this one to swap between, if I can spell. And then we can close out of these two and select our text. And we want our text to have style, font, style, all of these. And there we go. We can move on to the ellipse. Go ahead and grab whatever you feel like you really need. And then where we have it, we have all that we need for this. So we'll go ahead and just call this my cool toggle macro. And we'll just save as a group just for the use case of maybe changing this in the future. And we want to just come over here to Fusion and come down here to templates. If you don't have a folder called edit already, make a folder called edit and then put all these folders inside. You can make your own folders and put them in here, but have one called effects, generators, titles, transitions. All of them are plural, all of them are capitalized. Make sure they're spelled correctly, and then you can put your data settings files in here either for testing or for storing. If you get .settings files from other people, you can put them into these folders and they will work just like how they would if you get DRFX and install that, which we'll talk about in the next video. Go ahead and put this into titles though, and put it into my Studios one, my cool toggle macro, and now it is saved. There's no pop-up telling you that it's actually done, but it has saved. We can go and close out of that now, and let's come into here, and there might have been a small hiccup with Davinci after you've saved it. If you put stuff into that folder, it usually like refreshes the effects panel over here. But now if we come into the effects panel to wherever we saved it, we will see my cool toggle macro sitting right there. And we can see there actually is no labels. Why is that? Didn't we select the labels before? Or wait, no. We didn't have the labels as an option. What's going on here? Why don't we see our labels in here? They weren't in the macro editor. Why aren't they here? Well, the macro editor, for some reason, ignores all labels that aren't the basic default label, the one that doesn't have the word drop-down option. So what we have to do is we have to dig a little bit into the code. Go ahead and navigate to wherever you saved that to in your folders. To find that, all we really have to do is open up our search query and do %appdata%, because we need to be in the roaming folder right here. Come into Blackmagic Design, Davinci Resolve, Support, Fusion, and here is where all of the basically presets are saved for everything that you can make in Fusion. Well, what we're going to do is go into here into templates, go into your edit, go into title, and wherever you saved it at, and just open it up in your text editor. I'm going to open it up, like I said, in VS Code. We can see all of our controls listed out here, all of them labeled some form of input. Find the name of our alpha divide node, so this one, and I want to take alpha divide here. Copy that and just paste it somewhere up here near the top, just so you have that ready and available for you. Let's go ahead and copy one of these and paste, and let's name this to text nest. We can take alpha divide and cut that now and put that into source OP. Source OP is the node or tool that it's coming from. Source is the name of the control that you're taking. So we want this to say my text. And if we were to search for that, we can see there is an option for my text. We want the other one to be then called my circle. But let's go ahead and check all these. We want it to be on the controls page because that's what it is by default. You can even remove that, but it don't really matter. But then we can copy this and come down here to after all the text options. So after you stop seeing text in source OP, and now we start seeing ellipse, we can come into here and paste it, rename it to say circle nest, and rename source to my circle. Has to be this name right here, not the one with the space. It has to be the one with no space. This is what's called the ID. If we make sure to remove the name that was placed onto this from our other control, and now we can save this again. Now that we're back in Davinci, we can wait for it to refresh again, delete our old one, and now that we drag our new one in, we can see we have our nests on here. And one is turned on, one is turned off, just how we told it to. There we go. That's how you can make really nice nested sections. If we want this to be outside of the nest, you can obviously change that. When it's finally time for release, oftentimes it's really smart to change this to a macro. So this is what's called a group operator, but we also have what's called a macro operator. So if we change this to say macro, we can make it say macro operator and save that. Wait for Davinci to catch up. Now we have swap between at the very top, and we have, now this is happening because I didn't calculate how many I needed when I made this. We can also change that in the code as well. So opening this back up again, if we were to then search for my text, we can find we have number of inputs. I'm going to change this to say 4 because it looks like there's 2 there, and wait for Davinci to catch up, which I think it has. There we go. Put this into our timeline here, and now if we close this, we are closing it correctly. Pretty cool, and if we hit our toggle switch, everything's toggling correctly. Hop into Fusion, and we have a macro, not a group. So let's say you don't want it to look all boring like this. Oh, mine are kind of boring. I need to get on making thumbnails. But let's say you want to make some thumbnails for your cool effects. Let's make them look as cool as they work. Let's take a look at Mr. Alex Text Tools right here. We can see he has some really nice thumbnails that really work to really tell what these things do. So if you look down here on my little details panel, his dimensions for this particular image are a width of 500 and a height of 250. But you could probably even make them a full HD image, but just bear in mind that you will be losing a lot of quality, which means it's going to be compressing your pixels down, so less pixels you have to compress down, probably the better idea. So let's go ahead and make an image around this size for our tool. You can do this in Photoshop, Canva, you can do this in Affinity Designer, anything really. But I'm just going to do this really quick in Davinci. We just want the .png, so we'll actually cut that, and we'll just paste it wherever we have our other thing, wherever we put our macro, and we'll just select the name of the macro, copy that, and then select the name of our image and paste that into there. And now wait for Davinci to catch up. Now if we were to check what our title looks like over here on the edit page, we can see we have a little image in there. And you may want to change that, make it a little bit wider, make it look a little bit better. I wonder if our timeline didn't adjust correctly. Yeah, if you look, it did automatically switch me to a square timeline instead of a sideways timeline. That's on me for not double checking that, but obviously 500 by 250 looks like a good size. So make that in Canva or wherever you really want to. Makes it really easy to make your stuff really pretty. We have a better understanding of macros now. We can make them for the edit page and make them look pretty good. In the future, we'll be doing some really advanced videos, but you don't understand fully about the Text Plus node. Well, boy, I didn't say so. Why don't you go ahead and check out this video right here to check out more about that, and I'll catch you over there. Happy animating!